kind of an outlook for Kirk?
I think Dalvin's just a complete football player. He's really he's stepped up at times in protection. Whether it's his responsibility or really him and Dalvin have kind of saved the day a couple times. Part of pass protection is, if someone gets beat quickly or there's someone on an edge as you're trying to get out, we expect those guys to kind of step up in there and fit up. And there's been a couple times where they've had to kind of fit up on these big defensive tackles and done a nice job. But and then, of course, just like he has a one-handed catch on a ball down the field, he's made plays on some screens. We had kind of a special screen in Chicago where JJ threw it to him. Those types of things throughout the season. But he's just a complete football player. Dangerous with the ball in his hand and conscientious when it comes to his assignments.
Do you have any hesitation having Justin Jefferson throw the football, just because he's a receiver?
I really don't, because we threw a double pass and they played like a cover two, and he hit a hole shot on a double pass to Adam Thielen. We trust him with the ball. Really, he's shown as a runner. The way he protects the football, he locks it up. He's just kind of a special player. Obviously, offensive player of the month, and but we just feel like he's going to either make a good decision or throw it away or take off running himself if something's not there in those types of situations. And you don't call those plays if you don't trust him with the ball and feel like he's going to throw way back across his body or something. We're not trying to progress a whole lot. We weren't really scheming for the whole shot there, but he did a great job.
Wes, you mentioned offensive player of the month for Justin. Now he's leading all players in Pro Bowl votes. Do you have any new superlatives on the role that he's on now?
I think he's just a special player, and I think we're all, privileged to kind of just be a part of this thing. And I mean just us as fans, just being close to it. Seeing a great player and doing things that this league's been around a long time that people haven't done before. Just as a football fan, it's just cool to kind of be a part of it and watch him as he progresses throughout his career.
Wes, with Ahmad Gardner, just what stands out for him as a rookie and what he's done so far?
I think Ahmad, really the confidence, in his play, but physically, just the length, the size and length. He's really long. He's physical. He doesn't back away. It's like sometimes rookies have to kind of get acclimated and get the feel. And there's some receivers in this league that maybe they didn't face those types of guys, or they didn't do a lot of bump in college, so they kind of have to adjust if they're playing a scheme where they have to get up and press guys more. But he hasn't really shown that he needs any acclimation period for that type of stuff. I mean, he gets up there, he's confident, he doesn't care who's in front of him, and he's got kind of the length to recover and kind of hold guys up at the line of scrimmage where it makes it really tough if you don't really work your release. And even if you do, he can still get hands on you and kind of slow you up.
Have you seen him move around at all, or is that not what they do?
They've moved around a little bit, but this scheme generally hasn't been kind of a going back to Saleh in San Francisco. They're not showing you a lot of man coverage and that type of stuff. So they're not corners over and slot formations and all that kind of stuff. So they've generally kind of anchored those corners in this scheme and kind of make it challenging that way as far as recognizing different coverages.
This scheme, how important, I guess, is it for a receiver to read coverage and leverage? And I asked kind of in the context like Justin and the routes he's running right now.
Well, I think, yeah, each scheme is a little different, and this one can be challenging at times because they can show you zone and play man and vice versa. But I think just in general, you know, working edges on guys, you know, understanding, you know, who I'm attacking, who I'm running routes off of. Is this a route where I'm really running it off of safety, and you know, working against reroutes underneath. I think each coverage is a little bit different, and some of it's going to be reaction on the move. With the way as many coverages as they play now, and how they're able to disguise and show pressure looks and get out of them, and you know, they'll pop guys out from the A gap, and he's responsible for number 3 out to the field. So some of it's always going to be reaction. I think the great players like Justin kind of have just a natural kind of spatial feel of where defenders are on the field as it pertains to their route. That's really the best I can give you there.
Wes, 4 days after that Dallas game, what worked well for you guys in terms of keeping Kirk from only being sacked once? I mean, whether it was offensive line play or just the way you guys approached that game?
I think sometimes when you go into a game, sometimes the plan that you have versus the plan that they came up with doesn't mesh well, or sometimes the matchups, you know, just the individual players, and it's not always a great player against a lesser player or vice versa. It's just some guys don't. It just doesn't match up the way that you saw it happening, and I think, you know, playing the team who was number 1 in sacks and then going to the team that's number 2 in sacks, I do feel like, you know, we tried actively to give them a better opportunity to get these guys blocked and to have a cleaner pocket. So I put a lot of that on us. The players always, they're the ones out there playing, and they have a responsibility. But you know, I do feel like if we played Dallas again, that we'd do some things differently. And but they do make it challenging, and when their offense can score like they did when they get hot and they're scoring, and we have to kind of throw the ball. That's a very challenging front with a lot of good players that play very hard. So.
How do you think Ed Ingram has played this year as a rookie on the offensive line?
I just think Ed continues to ascend. I think I mentioned before, you know, we knew that there would be a little bit of growing pains playing a rookie at right guard in the NFL with the pass rushers we see, starting off the year against Kenny Clark in Green Bay. You know, there were going to be some times where he's got to kind of learn the hard way, and none of us want that to happen. But you wish they were all Pro Bowlers up there that, you know, have 5 or 10 years of experience where they've just seen it all. But some of that stuff was new to him, and I think the more he sees, the talent level is there, the strength, the anchor, all that stuff is in his body, the athleticism. And he just had to see some things and learn a few hard mistakes, but he's continued to progress.
And I know this goes back a few months, but as you're making the decision to do that, to sort of just kind of have him start, you know, and see it live, what are the benefits of that versus having him watch, you know, for a little while, or any offensive lineman watch for a little while before they're playing?
Well, he played because we felt like he was the best player we had at that position. I mean, it wasn't, hey, we drafted this guy, we got to get him in. We were comfortable if whoever that person would have been that we felt like ascended into that role, or that we had brought in. You know, we had a veteran, Jesse Davis here. We had guys, and then he kind of gets injured, and then we start evaluating all these players that are kind of rotating in at these positions, and ultimately we just felt like the ceiling was higher, that maybe he wasn't quite as experienced, maybe he hadn't seen it as much, but when it came to blocking a guy one-on-one, when he had to anchor down, or when he had to kind of redirect on a rush where he gets edged and he kind of cleans the pocket and presses and creates some space for the quarterback. We just felt like he was the better option.
Do you think it's defenses have evolved to the point where your guards are just as vital in pass protection as tackles? Like, I think there's probably a time when maybe that wasn't.
I definitely feel that way. It's probably been a few years. I remember talking with Sean maybe when I first got to LA, just how we just kind of have evolved to where almost the guards are almost more important, because the tackles are important. You'd love to just get 5 guys out and not help them at all, but you have a better ability to be able to help the tackle if you need to. You can chip on the edges, and the guards, things happen a lot faster inside. It's a much more condensed space. All the kind of games that they have to pass off with the tackles can, if they have enough anchor, they can set vertical and kind of feel out some of this stuff where the guards have to react like that. Any type of false step, any type of poor eyes on some of the things, blitzes or games that they bring, you're going to get beat. So definitely, guards are very critical, and there's a reason why some of these guards are getting paid a whole lot of money.
What do you see from this Jets defensive front that's maybe similar or different to the ones you faced the last couple of weeks, especially with Quinnen Williams in there?
Quinnen's a hell of a football player. Really, I didn't know a lot about Shepard, the other defensive tackle, and he's been really impressive on tape. Franklin Myers, Lawson. What you see is, kind of that scheme that Robert brought there from San Fran. Sometimes you didn't always know who all those guys were until you played them and you started watching tape. Obviously, Quinnen Williams was a high pick, but some of these guys, you look out there and you say, oh, who is that guy, 97? And then you start watching him, you say, hey, this Shepard kid, you know his name. After watching the tape for a little bit, they play very hard. They can get pressure with a 4-man rush, which is always challenging in any scheme. Whatever you're playing on the back end, if you can get pressure with a 4-man rush, I think they're 7th in sacks, but their pressure rate is pretty darn high, and it's certainly helped their back end. But they have talented players on the back end as well. So, and then Mosley's kind of the leader of the group. He gets everyone aligned. I mean, you can see him all over the tape, just kind of pointing out and getting guys in the right spots, and obviously a very physical player. So it's going to be a big challenge. It's going to be a physical, tough game.
How about just Justin Jefferson going against Sauce Gardner? Gotta look at that.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
I mean, as a fan, you like that matchup? You brought up being a fan.
Absolutely. I mean, to see 2 talented guys and young players that are having a lot of success go at each other on a Sunday in the NFL is going to be exciting. But I know Ahmad won't shy away from that battle, and I certainly know that Justin won't either. I know they're both looking forward to it, so we'll kind of see how it plays out.